Blum 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 blum
Welcome to Own It, Your Business and Your Life with Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. In this podcast, we're going to cover everything you need to embrace to become a successful entrepreneur, marketing, money, and much, much more. How to create a business doing just what you love. How to own it, your business and your life. This one will be fast, funny, feisty, and very lively. So sit back and enjoy the show. And good morning to you.
And to you.
How are you this morning?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm just looking on my momentum at a beautiful beach in the Maldives, thinking, oh, that'd be nice.
I don't use momentum anymore, but whatever my computer does, it shows me nice pictures. And today it was a lighthouse in somewhere gorgeous. I don't know.
Yeah.
A couple of featuring lighthouses this week. There was one yesterday as well. I love a lighthouse, me.
Yeah, nice. We got a lighthouse just down the road from here, but I've just got an email from my Greek friends inviting me to an all-you-can-eat Christmas buffet at Hades Bar in Agios Nikolaos for €15.
That's a long way to go for Christmas lunch, isn't it?
€15 though. Yeah. Yes. So, what's your week been like?
No, I've got quite a lot of social news. Shall I start?
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Go.
Okay. So, first of all, today is the recording of our Christmas show. So, I am going to want jingle bells and seasonal noises.
Okay. I'm sure I can deliver.
Good. Do, 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 do. I think you've got some lovely little jingle bell noise now.
Wheel out my elves.
Yes, indeed. Funnily enough, this week I learned about Elf on the Shelf. Do you know about Elf on the Shelf?
No, I don't. What's
I'll tell you that later. It's funny. So it's an interesting day today because it's the 12th of the 12th, and also perhaps my busiest working day in recent memory. I've already done a call this morning at 8:30, and I don't finish until 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Wow.
It is 12/12, a fascinating numerical and astrological day because the full moon is at 12/12 on the 12th day of the 12th month.
Ooh.
So it's a fabulous day for us to be recording Sally, the astrologer, after lunch. And it's also the UK general election. Could be a cliffhanger. Not sure whether I'll stay up for it or whether I'll wake up to our fate in the morning. And I'm thinking complete trust in life, whatever the results are. And since I spoke to you last, I've moved to London. And it's the first time I've been here since moving out in March 2017. And I'm in an enormous block on Lewisham High Street opposite the shopping centre, which probably once was, definitely once was something else. So it's been chopped up into tiny, quite well-designed, warm flats where you can't hear the noise your neighbours are making, which is excellent because normally in a building like that, you'd expect in these funny little modern units to be pestered by whatever anybody's up to, and I'm not, which is good. But it was a very difficult move because you can't park outside.
Right.
And we're next door to the police station, and the lady whose flat it is, who's gone to Perth in Australia for Christmas, told me that I could park on double yellow lines in the alley out the back to unload, and I was pleased about that until I discovered that the flat is also at the back, but what I had to do was unload out the back, walk all the bags through a deep building to the lift for my floor, which is at the front, only to discover that when I got out at the third floor, I had to walk all the way to the back of the building again.
Oh my God.
And I had 8 bags, and I couldn't take them all in one go. So it's like forward a bit, forward a bit, forward a bit, forward a bit. The lift that I want is the furthest away from the back, upstairs, repeat the process. I took the bins down yesterday, and I think it's like 100 paces on this floor and 100 paces on the ground floor, but it felt so much more than that when I was trying to drag 8 bags through those spaces. People did help me, which was quite sweet, but it was absolutely knackering.
Yeah.
And that took me a long time. And then, of course, she had set me up with local parking permits. So after that, I had to then go and park the car legally, which was, again, quite a hike from here. And she also left me this scary message so I was relieved to get this message about the unloading, but actually it turned out to be a bit of a mixed blessing. And then the scary message she left me was about getting in and out of the bath. And those two are the only 2 things I would ever worry about. Where am I going to park, and how safe am I going to be in a slippery bathroom? Now, neither of them were as terrifying as anticipated. The bath's quite easy, actually. I don't know what she's on about, but the unloading was wretched. Anyway, they've got a very nice cat called Phoenix, who's an old boy, and he has to take his pills twice a day, and he does it. He's a very good boy because his pill is disguised in something called pill fudge. So I wrap it in this sort of stuff that he obviously clearly loves, and he starts his breakfast in the morning and his supper in the evening with it. He loves me. He sleeps a lot. He snores a lot. He's got a big black splodge on his nose, and I found him instantly lovable. We might hear his snoring in a minute, but I keep calling him a good girl.
Brilliant.
I keep calling him a good girl because all the cats I generally look after are girls. But it's interesting that the two most lovable cats, because cats are quite sort of remote, they put their tails up and walk away from you and pretend you don't exist except for when you're opening the food.
Yeah.
But the last cat, Champers, who sat on my lap 3 times a day and purred, and Phoenix, who comes and sits next to me of an evening when I'm watching the telly, but more about the telly later. So nice, modern, tiny, comfy, warm, no microwave and only one saucepan. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to be able to cook myself a Christmas lunch with one saucepan.
I'm amazed that people buy flats or rent flats in places that are so difficult to live in.
Well, I don't think it is difficult for her because it's if you don't drive, and you are a young, fit person, she lives right in the middle of it. I think, her commute is short and efficient.
Yeah.
The shopping centre's over the road with everything you could possibly want.
You must shop every day or something.
Well, no, the Ocado delivers later. The groceries are going to be delivered. That's a dream. But the shopping isn't a problem. In fact, it's quite the opposite. If you like shopping, we're opposite the shopping centre, which, interestingly, my friend Nicola's company owns Land Securities. So it's got, and then I was discovering this body shop product this week, and I thought, I wonder where the nearest body shop is. Oh, it's over the road. Everything you want is over the road, but that's not really very easy for me with my knees, quite frankly. But this one saucepan thing, so I emailed her in Australia and said, I've only found one saucepan. Have you got one saucepan? And she says, no, I've only got one saucepan. And then she talks to me about steamers and various other things. The flat is so small that Phoenix has only got one cat food bowl and she's only got one saucepan. She's very neat and actually quite fastidious. So the Xmas lunch has got a question mark next to it. But this morning I've been up talking to Brisbane, as I think I said, and I've discovered that Brisbane in Queensland, in Australia, like Arizona in the States, does not do daylight savings. I love collecting facts like this.
So they just stay the same and wait for everyone to catch up.
They stay the same all the time. Don't you wish you lived somewhere where it stayed the same all the time? I think it's like Queensland and Arizona have gone, no, we're not doing that.
I find, my brain just will not comprehend these.
No,
things, so,
quite. I mean, if it's not hard enough trying to find a time when I can speak to Brisbane, it was like 8:30 my time in the morning, 6:30 her time in the evening. And I said, and of course, when the clocks move, we'll probably have to switch where I'm in the morning and I'm in the evening and you're in the morning and not on the same day. She says, oh no, it's okay. Queensland doesn't do daylight savings. Hurrah. Because otherwise 6 months later we have to switch.
Yeah
Nightmare. Anyway, tell me about your week.
Well, it's been quite a quietish week. I've been focusing every day on one different client. So one day I'm working on these financial boys up the road, and then one day I'm working on Stupa Life, and then one day I'm teaching Nelson how to do some web design so he can help me on occasions. And it's been really good and satisfying from that point of view. Just each day know exactly what I'm going to be working on and blocking out everything else. I had a routine visit with the doctor because I came back from Greece and I couldn't get my blood pressure pills that they prescribed out there, so I had to go to the doctor. Got a doctor's appointment wonderfully quickly each time. I had some blood pressure and they said, no, it's still a little bit high, let's put you on some different pills, but we'll need to take a blood test because we want to measure I didn't even listen, to be honest, about what we were measuring. And so then I went for this blood test with this nurse and I said, what are we measuring? And she said, oh, liver and kidneys. And I thought, oh God, I wish you'd mentioned that before I had a couple of glasses of wine last night. And so I thought, well, I don't know what the results of that are going to be. But then I went back for what they don't call it what they used to call it anymore because apparently it's not very attractive. So it's now cervical screening. And I went back for that, and I said to the nurse when she was doing that, can you look at my blood tests? And she said, oh yes, they're all perfectly within normal range, so you're fine. so I can continue with my blood pressure pills. And then what else have I done? We went out for Sunday lunch, and Sarah came over and joined us, and we had a quite acceptable Sunday lunch at the Crown and Anchor. They did do turkey, which was lovely, and they did let you have a Yorkshire pudding with it, even though they weren't supposed to, which was my mark of a good roast dinner in a pub, is if you can get Yorkshire pudding even if you're not ordering beef. So enjoyed that. We're going to another place, Phoebe and I, this week, at the Stoneham, which is actually owned by an old friend of mine's brother, who's been in hospitality in Brighton for years. Do you remember the team who built up a chain of 30-odd pubs and clubs and then sold out to Nomura National Bank?
No.
Well, I had some friends who became extremely successful, 12 million each, apparently. And then one of them built a chateau in France, one of them went to live in Australia for a while, and one of them went straight back into hospitality with a new business partner, and he's still going strong. So.
And what did you do with these people? I was focused elsewhere when
I was focused elsewhere.
Well, I'm writing the notes. But you never listen to me. I'm writing the notes, and I've got points I want to make back to you in a minute. But I missed the first bit of this story about what did you do with these people? Did you go out to lunch? Did you say?
No, I went out to lunch with Phoebe and Sarah.
No, I got that. But then you said something about these people, but I didn't hear what.
Well, so this week we're going to a better lunch.
Okay.
At the Stoneham in Brighton, in Hove.
Yes, that's it.
By my old friend.
I get you. Okay.
Yes, and I'm insulted to hear that you think I don't listen to you, because I absolutely do.
No, you don't. People, and the listener will agree with me, because week after I say things like, "Do you remember me saying a couple of weeks ago?" And you go, "No."
Yeah, but I've got no memory, not because I wasn't listening.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Have you finished this section? Because I want to make some points on your points. Keep going.
Finally, I went out last night for the first time in literally about 3 weeks. And I went to Suits Yard, then we went to the bridge, and then we came back via a kebab shop.
So is that 2 pubs and then a kebab shop?
Yes, it was a typical night out in Shoreham. Okay. And let me tell you, I got to know Omar, who, when I told him I'd just come back from Greece, announced that he was Turkish.
Yes.
So you always got that little bit of awkwardness.
Yes, you do. You do.
Turks don't get on
very well. No, indeed. In fact, I would expect a kebab shop owner to be Turkish.
Yes. Well, I wouldn't. I would expect them to be Middle East of some kind, but I haven't really thought about which country.
No, indeed.
Anyway, Omar's charming, and he gave me extra meat on my kebab for having been such a nice chatter.
Under certain circumstances, I don't mind a kebab.
No, I like them.
But under no circumstances would I ever want Yorkshire pudding with anything other than beef, or think it was a good sign of a good pub.
Well, I know it's a bit common, but
It's common.
Yeah,
exactly right. It's as naff as old anything. But I do approve wholeheartedly of One Day, One Client, because it's a close relationship of one woman, one website. And a client this week gave me another version of One Day, One something. I can't remember what it was now. And it's a really relaxing thing just to have one thing to think about for the whole day, isn't it?
Yeah, I got loads done.
Yeah.
Very productive.
Yeah. I rest my case.
Yeah.
Tell me what's fueled your fire.
So fueled my fire this week has been screenwriting. I'm back on screenwriting.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I told you, but I was
You
thinking,
did, yes.
I'm in the UK, so I might as well make the most of that.
Yes, there was something about coming up to London with the BBC thing.
Well, yeah, I've got to enter that.
Yes.
So in order to enter that, you have to write a one-sentence logline, they're called.
By soon, isn't it? Isn't the date was early December, like the 9th or something?
Yeah, but the deadline's not till the 6th of Jan.
Oh, okay.
So I've still got the bulk of the work to do yet.
Yep.
But I've come up with a one-sentence logline. I've come up with a 300-word summary of my 6-part series.
Yeah.
I've come up with a 300-word pilot summary of my pilot episode.
Yeah.
And I've now got to write 30 pages of my pilot episode.
Okay.
Now, this is a bit where I'm feeling a little bit stuck on, because it's quite, when I look at other people's screenplays, the dialogue, which is there's certain rules about writing dialogue for screenplays. You've got to know what each character wants. You've got to have the character hiding what they want and trying to get what they want but not displaying it in the dialogue. So you can't be obvious. And each person should be in conflict with another one. So there's a few rules about what makes for dynamic dialogue.
Yeah.
And I've been swatting up on Robert McKee's nearly impenetrable book called Dialogue.
Yeah.
And I've got a few other books as well, and I've been looking at stuff online. But when you actually download screenplays, and the BBC is fantastic for this, you can download any screenplay that they've ever put on. So I've been looking at Luther scripts, and I've also been looking at Killing Eve scripts, because in my opinion, two of the finest dramas recently. I might look at Marcella as well.
Yeah.
But there's nothing really very... When you're reading the script...
I know. It's hard to tell. No, it's quite hard to tell what's going on just from dialogue.
It is, and you're only allowed to put little one
exactly.
liner
that says outside the pub at night.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Outside the kebab shop on Wednesday.
What I said last night, exactly. And then Stevie and I were having a witty, sparkling dialogue.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to know how to write good dialogue.
Okay, so let's do an Abraham on it. Can you reframe that?
Okay. It's going to be really easy and fun to write the dialogue.
Yeah, an interesting opportunity, interesting challenge. Just what I'm up for in the downtime over Christmas. I don't know what it is. Something like that, isn't it?
It is, and the thing is, the fact that the idea is so fully formed and the characters are so fully formed, hopefully that'll carry me a long way. But
also, you're not supposed to be perfect, because what this is leading to is a course how to be better, isn't it?
It is, but you still have to do a good job. You possibly can. They don't want any first drafts or anything like that. No, I understand. So I think, and obviously you get a lovely bit of software because you have to write it in a certain format, and I do like a nice bit of software, so that's encouraging me. So I am going to get it done, but I'm just wondering when people read scripts what they're looking for, because the Luther dialogue and the Killing Eve dialogue in the beginning is very dull.
But actors must get must get good at that.
Yes, obviously, that's the thing that draws me to this, is the team effort kind of thing. But if I want to write good dialogue, how do you actually do that when some of the best dialogue around, or the best series around, the opening episode dialogue looks dull as ditchwater?
Well, you say dull, but basically, if you're putting the words into the mouths of what's his name in Luther?
Oh, Idris Elba.
In Idris Elba, with a background. Do you see what I'm saying? You're just providing the words, but he's providing the presence and the energy, and there's a set.
I think I need to get some actors in mind, don't I?
Yes. See your dialogue coming out of the mouths of who your ideal actor would be in the role. Yes.
Yeah, that'll work.
And actually, they say that a lot, don't they? When we watch people on Graham Norton and things, they say, so and so wrote this with me in mind, or I wrote it with so and so in mind.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I need to do then. Right, that's it.
I want to go back to the thing about logs. I've written down here, I've written a lot of notes, mostly for me. This won't turn up in the show notes. You said something about a log line or something. What's it called?
That's what it's called. When it's like an elevator pitch. So when you get into an elevator with a director and he says, what are you working on? You say, new screen, a thriller screenplay. And he says, what's it about? And you go, blah. Right.
And I've written down here it's a one something log line.
One sentence.
One sentence.
Ideally one sentence or two short sentences.
Yes, okay. All right, got it. I mean, actually, all of us have got to do that with everything all of the time, because nobody's got the patience anymore unless you can hook them.
Yes. Do you want to hear my log line?
Yes.
A spate of violent murder-suicides of prominent men rocks the country amid speculation that a new designer drug, man, is to blame. Word on the streets is that it's manufactured by a sinister revolutionary organisation known only as Mother.
What's a murder-suicide?
It's when someone murders people and then turns the gun on themselves.
Oh, right, okay. So that would be. I've never heard that expression, so that would be my question. Does the people reading it know what a murder-suicide is?
Well, I imagine the directors would. Yeah.
Okay.
I might need to change that.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Anyway, so shall I read it again? And now you know what it is. A spate of violent murder-suicides of prominent men rocks the country amid speculation that a new designer drug, man, is to blame. Word on the streets is that it's manufactured by a sinister revolutionary organisation known only as Mother.
I would cut the majority of the last sentence and so there's a lot of preamble in the last sentence, but all the good bits in the second half of the last sentence, that the drug is manufactured by a sinister organisation called Mother.
Oh, okay. So just get rid of word on the street.
Yeah, about 6 or 8 word on the street, yeah.
Okay.
I could almost even do it with a comma at the end of the first bit.
Oh, that'll make it one sentence, which would be
Yeah, it's quite
yeah.
wordy for a log line.
Okay, all right, that's good. Obviously.
Shall I tell you what's fueled my fire?
Go on then.
I'm not going to mention her name, although she has told me I can speak freely about this. I don't know whether she meant anonymously or not. But after our show last week, I spoke to another artist. And in fact, Brisbane this morning was yet another artist. So I'm getting rather good at these artists now. And I met a woman who I liked instantly, who had run a business in a street I knew in Clapham where my accounting business was. Probably not at the same time, because she is, I think, considerably younger than me. But at some point, she'd sold that business, up, sticked, and gone to the country with her husband and 2 children, where she's been earning a living as an artist, but not really doing the sort of work she wanted to do. She's sort of doing bread and butter commissions. And she tried to convince me that she didn't know what her dream was, but one little poke and it all came tumbling out, and it was clear that she really did. And immediately afterwards she sent me a little message that said, "Good morning, Judith, what a pivotal discussion we had this week. I just wanted to thank you hugely. I've taken a deep breath and begun to make space for my wild and out there paintings, space in my mind and in my studio. And you can see the beginnings of the story here. I'll certainly be booking in again, making a testimonial for you, but for now, much love." And she links through to a blog post she's written on her website, which is called Wild and Out There. So she's outed herself on her blog. Speaking with a talented creative coach recently, mid-flow, and in answer to her clever questioning, I told her that for some years I've had a deep hankering to break out and make paintings that were completely wild and out there for me. Once those words slipped out, she told me to stop, write the words down exactly as they came out of my mouth, and reread my own words. So it's time to share new works that I've dithered about bringing to my website. They are in celebration of my local landscape. I'll let the paintings do the talking. I hope you like them. Most of these works have now sold at various exhibitions over the past 2 to 3 years. As I make new works, I'll share them here on the easel and would love your thoughts. One conversation and a woman has gone straight to doing what she wished she'd always been doing instead of the thing she was doing.
That's wonderful.
I know. I mean, these artists are brilliant. I mean, if you could hear the woman from Brisbane this morning, another brilliant woman who's had success in everything she's ever done in life. She's 59. And also is a very Abraham-y person who sets an intention. And the good news just kept tumbling out, but hadn't sold a painting yet. Come on, you women, get a grip. Offer it for sale. We all want to buy pretty things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that was her challenge, which was, she wanted to make a bit more money. She was worried about, she was a little bit scarce. So she'd got 4 paintings in stock. And I said, well, you've got to start there. You've got to get rid of them.
Yeah. They're no good being in stock, are they? They're not
no.
Out there.
And I don't know if you remember that when Louise told her story about getting out of your own way, she said that she'd been to this spooky workshop in London and she'd gone back home to Yorkshire. And by the time she'd got there, her husband had said to her, why don't you give up the CV business and start arting? And she told us that she made more money than she did in her CV within the first 6 months or something. And this is a recurring theme from these artists. As soon as they give up the things that they've been doing for bread and butter, and it's taken this woman until she was 59, the money starts rolling in. And all of them, including me, have got in common that when we were a teenager, our parents wouldn't let us do what we wanted to do. We had to study something that would be good to fall back on.
Yes.
This loathsome concept of having something to fall back on. As you said last week, we must be lucky that we didn't come through 2 world wars. I do think that scarcity does come from the wars.
Yes.
That our parents thought they were doing the right thing, making sure that we were trained. But what it did was it diverted us for up to 40 years. I said to her, how old are you now? She said 59. I said, how old were you when you wanted to do the arts? And she said 16. And I went, 43 years.
Yes. And it's interesting that Gary Vee really preaches that you should really spend your time until you're at 30 odd doing whatever you want to and trying lots of things and finding what you want to do. Because once you hit 30 and start having responsibilities and owning houses and having children and things, that's when your choices are limited.
I do think people get there in the end, and I don't think it matters how long it takes to get there, because in the 43 years this woman has acquired a lot of really valuable life experience. She's been a journalist, she's had a shop, she's an interior designer, she's done ballroom dancing, she's a performance pianist, on and on and on with the list of talents and skills. But the one you want to do, you just can't let yourself do it because you don't believe in it, because it's your special talent.
Yes, and you hear that so much.
I know.
You really do.
Yeah.
It's the thing that's supposed to be the thing you fall back on is actually the one thing standing in your way.
Well, isn't that ironic?
Yeah.
So, what we're going to do, this week's title of this week's show, I'm going to call 2019 Review. Quite a personal one, yours and mine, I think. Are you telling us about what your 29 has been about?
Yes.
2019, I mean, sorry. Yes, go then.
Oh, okay. Well, the first things that happened were the Australian trip. The Australian trip that was the first time ever in my life that I've gone away and had an absolute triumph. It was a success.
Oh, yes. The setting from the stage, you mean?
Yes, but not just that. It was the fact that I had a wonderful place to stay that I didn't have to pay for, and it was a wonderful area, and I had plenty of money, so I didn't have to worry about.
Yes, and you stayed for a nice long time, like 3 weeks. It wasn't knackering travel too much.
No. I had plenty of time in between to do my own pursuits. I went to James Frampco's event, as well as Neil's event on the Gold Coast. It was just, I felt very glamorous and very successful. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
And then there was a tiny fly in the ointment of the Australia trip, which is that I won a website redesign.
Oh, yes.
Which not only ended up costing me money, but through my own stupidity, actually. But it stopped everything converting on my website. So it looks beautiful, but it doesn't work. Yeah. And worse than that, I paid money to get it done because although I won the web redesign, I didn't win the coding to go with it. To get
so are you saying it still doesn't work as a result of that?
No, it still doesn't work. No, it doesn't. But I can't bring myself to change it because it looks nice.
Yeah.
And the thing is, most people arrive not at my front page anyway. So I'm trying, I really believe websites are just fading in importance.
So do I.
So I really can't bring myself to spend any time or anything on it.
Yes.
I wish I'd been firmer about going out and finding a guy who could make it on Thrive, which is the software I use now, because it would have cost me $300 to $500 instead of $3,000, and it would have been something I could then amend to my heart's desire whenever I wanted.
Yeah.
And that's not, those pages that were done by the developer for the place where I won it, I can't touch at all. I can't change or anything. No. But Andy, my friend, pointed out, because he's using Thrive as well, he pointed out that I could, if I wanted to, reproduce those pages or get those pages reproduced.
Yes, you could.
But I'm not willing to spend money on it because it's not converting.
No, but one of your chaps, like Zoltan or somebody, could do that relatively inexpensively for you.
Yes, they could, but I don't. I don't see the point in reading.
No, I agree with you. It was an interesting thing. So we're ending 2019 saying websites are fading in importance.
Well, I think they are, because when you think about it and when you look at your Google statistics, most of your traffic comes into a blog post or a page, internal page. It doesn't come to your front page. Only if you do things like go on podcasts and give out your URL do people come to your homepage.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting learning lesson for me. I'll never do that again.
No, so the learning there is that a prize can be a curate's egg.
Sword.
Yeah, double-edged sword. Yeah.
And that I should have stuck to my guns and trusted my own instinct.
Oh, no, I like that point very much. Stuck to my guns and trusted my own instinct. Perfect.
Yeah. Well, that's a recurring theme in my life.
Yeah, well, and mine and everybody's. It's a good learning, though.
Yeah. And then I had my ups and downs with the Facebook ads algorithm.
Oh, God, yes.
I had numerous accounts closed down in 2019 for no good reason whatsoever, apart from the fact the Facebook algorithm is highly sensitive and draconian in its draconianness. But I have now got ads up and running because I had a multitude of accounts and I was able to find one eventually that I could use. And I really came to the realisation that I think my URL must be on a blacklist at Facebook, nicolacairncross.com. They must have me marked as multi-level marketing, which I totally am not. And any sign of that URL, it sets them off. But the good news is that there's lots of ways around that. So if you're suffering with that kind of problem, come and see me because I know how to fix it. The other thing, the highlight was starting stupalife.com, which I'm thinking, is going to be my thing that goes into my old age. We've just launched it in terms of, got lots of properties listed on it, and the traffic is starting to come in terms of, Google being organic traffic. But we've started a very, very inexpensive ads campaign for it and we are getting visitors from all around the world. I've done some research on where Greek people of the diaspora, it's called, the Greek diaspora, where they've gone, what are the hot spots, the cities with lots of Greek people in, because they like to come home for their summer holidays. So
I absolutely love that word. I always pronounce it diaspora, but I don't know about that. But I do. I love that word.
It's a lovely word, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And it just gives wonderful visions of Greeks voyaging off in ships to other places.
Yes. Now, hold, caller.
Yeah.
I'm just going to press. Yeah, diaspora is what it's how you pronounce it.
Okay, diaspora.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there are hotspots of Greek people around the world, so we're advertising to them first, along with the Brits and the Scandies, and all of those countries are responding and coming to visit the website. So I'm hoping that the people who are listed on the website for free for 3 months will get inquiries from the website and will want to renew when the 3 months is up. So. Mm-hmm. And the thing I love about Stupa Life business is it's non-personality driven. It doesn't depend on me being there, being a personality doing it. It's a website where the benefits should be immediately bleeding obvious to the customer. It's not something I have to convince them to be to see the benefits of.
Yeah.
And of course, the big thing for this year was the whole coming out of grieving, coming home, and then coming home because I didn't feel the need to be somewhere on my own anymore. I felt I could, mix in with real people again, and that's been an unqualified success. Phoebe and I were talking about it last night, and she was saying, how much she's enjoying it as well, and how it feels like an extra present because, it felt like the kids had grown up and they were going their own ways, and in fact, Chloe has just moved in with her boyfriend. Spencer's just got his own place. The kids are definitely growing up, but I feel like I've had an extra present in being able to come back and be able to live with them for a time before they meet their life partners and go off and do their own thing again. So that's really nice. Just a few things. I've got over myself about having clients. I used to really not be able to do that at all, but I've broken the back of that this year. I had one lovely long-term client for a done-for-you service, and I really enjoyed working with her. And I've also got a new corporate clients who are hilarious, actually. They haven't got a blooming clue what they're doing, bless them. So they need my expertise. Otherwise, they would be wasting a lot of money. And I've got over myself about charging what I'm worth. I don't do anything now unless I get paid well for it. And I've got over myself about not having a business partner because I find myself surprised in the position of having a business partner again. And I'm definitely doing more with Stupa Life than I would if he wasn't around. And I'm definitely not giving up so soon as I would if he wasn't around because he's very unemotional, very down to earth, very practical and funny as well. So, when I go, he's like, now come on, let's look at this more realistically. But he does it in such a kind, nice way that I don't feel criticised or attacked. So he's getting the balance right, which is really good fun. Yes, I'm enjoying that. So that's my year, really.
It's not a bad one, is it? Give it a score out of 10.
Sorry? Score out of 10?
Yes.
Oh, it's got to be a 7 or 8, isn't it?
Oh, there you go. That's good, isn't it?
Which is better than the last few years. That's
yes, exactly right. Okay. I said to you yesterday I'd got 4 rather than 3, but I think actually while I've been looking at it, while I've been waiting for you, it's probably about 5. Another year of learning to thrive without a fixed abode.
Yes, I'm so impressed with you for that. I don't know how you're doing it.
I'm quite impressed with myself about it, actually, Nicola. I'll tell you what it does, and this goes into my word of the week. I have lots of new thoughts and I discover lots of new things because as I move around from home to home, I can't use my own routine. I have to, as much as I can bring myself to, follow their manual. The lady here is very fastidious, and I've stayed in another home where it's very fastidious, where, in the brief moments between her leaving to go to Heathrow and me arriving, she'd turned off the central heating. Who would have done that except somebody who thinks about everything? And so she's very directive about how I behave while I'm here. And when I try to fit myself into their boxes, I find that quite difficult. I feel a bit rebellious. And I say to Marion, it feels like a master and slave relationship, which I don't like very much.
No.
But mostly I don't have to do that. Mostly the people are very grateful. But I think flexibility is what it teaches me, which is, I mean, I do love, as you know, a routine, a supportive routine and systems and a simple life. And this by no means is a simple life. And the routine changes every time I move. And sometimes that's, as I said to somebody the other day, 4 beds in 8 nights. You know, that's quite testing.
Yeah.
But I've discovered things like if you stay in your own home, nothing changes. So what I do is I get to road test new things like new beds and new bathrooms and new kitchens where in 2019 they've got newer stuff than I had when I last had a home. And some of these inventions are better. Not all of them, but some of them are. And so they make me go things like, oh, I like one of those when I settle down. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. And going hand in hand with that, another year of deepening appreciation for the UK countryside. I left it too late to come back to urban this year because I didn't come back to London until last weekend. I think, you know, by the time the clocks go back, I should, like Halloween, I should be thinking of going back to somewhere more urban because the love of the countryside is in the spring, summer and early autumn, not in the muddy, cold winter. I don't like it at all then. It's just not nice. Another year of podcasting. I'm very proud of what we're creating here. Today, episode 254.
And it's effortless, almost effortless.
Well, and actually,
your note taking.
I listen to eat. I mean, obviously, as I said last week, I participate in it, and then I listen to the version you send me. And sometimes I listen on Friday mornings to see what it feels like to be the listener listening, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think we've created something to be really proud of here.
Yes, and it's interesting how it's evolved, isn't it? It's become, you know, they say people are either seeking education or entertainment. I think it's become more entertainment than education nowadays.
Well, it goes back to what you always said, which is it's a story, isn't it, of people's lives evolving.
Yes.
You know, neither of us are living or doing the same life or things that we were at the beginning.
No. Christmas all those years ago. How many years was it? 4 or 5?
Oh, it's quite a long time ago. Well, 50 episodes a year, 255 years ago. Yes, we started. You made me start in something like October, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. I think you made me start in something like October, November 2015.
That sounds
17,
right.
18,
Yeah.
Well, 15, I think, whatever. And to get 6 episodes, because at the time, we believed you had to have 6 episodes in advance. Do you remember?
Yes, you have to have a decent number of episodes to launch with.
And I mean, I obviously haven't reviewed all of them and listened to them all again, like I'm doing with West Wing at the moment, as I'll tell you later. But I'm not sure that all of them would stand up to the test of time. But when I listen to them now, I'm very, not self-satisfied, but pleased with what we managed to create. Sometimes I think, not sure that was a great one, but it's rare.
Yes, it is. And we often start with a topic in the middle that we don't know what we're going to say anything about.
No, that would appeal to both of us, of course, because it's quite dangerous, isn't it?
Yes.
a mentor of a friend of mine says, when I say something to her like I'm on the edge, she goes, yeah, but the view's so much better from the edge. And when we're doing that busking, you know, we don't know what we're going to say and we're thinking it through and we manage to come up with something good, the view's better from the edge.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. We couldn't possibly do anything scripted or rehearsed, could we?
Well, no, we couldn't, no. And actually, I'm sure that would turn off the people who want more polish. But actually, the way we do it is the only way the combination of you and I could do it. Yes. And we're the sort of people who we hope people like it. But if they don't, there are a gazillion other podcasts that they can go and listen to, aren't there?
Yes, there are.
You know, and there's a lot of people that complain about television programs, and everybody, some sensible person always says, why don't you turn it off or turn it over? It's the same with our podcast, really, isn't it? It looks to me like a minority interest, about 400 or 500 a week, and that's fine by me.
I think, though, that we should look at getting the cover redone. I think we should rebrand the front cover.
Okay.
For this year. I'm scared to
we should maybe think, what are we now?
Yes.
It's still about your business and your life, isn't it?
Yes, it still is.
And Own It is a great title, which many have copied in the intervening 5 years. It's a great title.
Yes, but I just think our cover art needs. Perhaps we should set a competition for all these lovely artists who come up with a new cover for us.
Well, if anybody wants to send in a suggestion, yes. Do you have dimensions you need for that?
Yes, it's 3,000 by 3,000 pixels. And it's got to be, yes, and it's, that's it basically, 3,000 by 3,000 pixels.
All right, cool.
And
so,
cases do better on, but we need also to be able to read the words when they're on that silly little thing on iTunes when everything's very tiny.
Yeah,
so
tricky. It's quite a tricky thing unless somebody's an expert at that. Yeah.
It is.
So that leads very nicely into, thanks to Alice, another year of celebrating my coaching decision to work with creative people, especially artists. I felt this morning, not just this morning, with the woman last Thursday afternoon I've just told you about, that I'm becoming a real expert in artists because they've all got the same issues in a lovely way, and they're all completely different, but they've got this thing. There's got this thing where they think the thing they were taught to do, whether it be teaching or interior design or anything that they do for a living instead of what they really want to be doing, the fallback thing. And Louise got us going on this, Alice's podcast partner. She got us going by saying she made more money than she was making in a fallback thing within about 6 months. So my job really is just to get them to have the courage of their convictions.
Yes, it's becoming, and the best thing about this is word will spread in the artistic communities that there is a business coach out there who works with and is really good with artists.
And there's another thing as well, which is it's very much in the zeitgeist, by which I mean the reason they're all doing so well once they offer their work for sale is pretty things is what people want to buy now.
Yes, that's right. And it's much easier to offer pretty things.
It can be.
Absolutely. Which is a recurring theme through this year, isn't it? We've both been moving more towards that than things that we have to convince people they need.
Yes, we're a bit over that now.
Yes.
My last one here is nearly a whole year of Abraham. We started that in February, and we converted my daily I Love My Life gratitude group from being about Pam Grout's book Thank and Grow Rich to being about manifesting with Abraham. I think if I had to pick one, that's probably the one that's helped me with all the others.
Yes. Well, I'm completely addicted. I listen to her on a regular basis.
Yeah. And somebody said to me the other day, "Who's Esther?" Because if you come into the podcast recently, we just talk about her like Esther. You just called her. We if you've listened to it sequentially, you know exactly what we're talking about. But if you've just joined us recently, so somebody said, "Oh, by the way, just before you go, who's Esther?" So I had to tell the story of that there. but that complete trust in life underwrites everything I think and feel and do and am now.
Yeah.
Don't always get it right. But it's my intention that that's my go-to spiritually supportive thing. And the woman this morning in Brisbane, she spoke that language, so it was easy.
Oh, you've just reminded me of something.
Go on then.
Well, no, it's gonna come into my who or what's impressed if I haven't told you before and forgotten all about it.
All right, okay. I think that's me. So we could move on to words. You what?
What score would you give this year?
Oh, that's a good one. It's been quite testing. 6.
So testing, but still positive rather than negative.
Yes.
Well,
because it's forward movement.
Yeah. I've got to say, I wouldn't have wished, the fact that you do, need to do what you need to do because of lots of different reasons. But I do feel that it's got to have been good for you in terms of, because you were.
I do think it's the flexibility. It's the flexibility in every sense, which is it's keeping me younger than a grumpy old woman, which I could quite easily lapse into. Very easily.
I wasn't going to say that.
Yeah, I could. Because, of course, it's quite funny British humour being a grumpy old woman.
Yeah, it is.
And, of course, Esther helps me whenever Marion will not let me complain. And she even said to me this week, I think next year we shouldn't complain at all. I said, well, I'd like to reframe the word complaining because I need the outlet. Otherwise, it just festers inside me. And it isn't a complaint so much as I'm feeling difficult emotions around this. Will you help me reframe it? And yeah, anyway, there we go. Yeah, before we go, they will just tell everybody this is the Christmas show when we're reviewing 2019, and next week will be the New Year show when we're going to do our 2020 hopes and dreams.
Oh, God. See, already I feel my heart quailing.
Well, I've got a much shorter list, I'll tell you that already. So yes, my word of the week is appreciation for the thoughts and things, which has been triggered by all the moving, the meeting of the new people and the dealing with the fastidious.
Well, that's about 20 words though.
No, appreciation is the word. My explanation is for the thoughts of the things triggered by all the moving, meeting new people and dealing with the fastidious.
Yeah.
So dealing with the fastidious makes me realise that although I'm neat and tidy, I am not fastidious. Fastidious is fussy about every detail and an attempt to tell me in the house sitting manual and extra emails every single detail about how I should do every single thing.
Yeah. That's
Well, it's impossible.
Well, it's a desire to control. It's a desire to control when you don't feel in control.
Well, one of our listeners is a house sitter, and she liberated me partway through the year, saying, "Oh, I just disobey the manual." Lovely. That's helped me a lot.
Well, when I had the hotel and my dad arrived, he put how we do it here and it never got taken out again.
The sad thing is, if you're going to go to Perth for 3 weeks, all I've got to do is keep the cat alive, and the rest of it's down to me, isn't it?
Yeah, really. Well, mine's hospitality, because I have come across an intriguing little business for sale that I am really trying my very
Oh my God, no.
No, it's a real life business as well, which is worse. It's a local cafe, and it's owned by someone who I've got a lot of liking and respect for.
Is it the one you told us about that does the great cake?
No.
Oh.
It's someone else. And I can see several ways that this business could do much, much better than it is right now. But this lady is tired, overwhelmed, coming up to Christmas, not sure if she wants to continue, might even have reached the point of no return. And she was talking to me just because we're friends. I've always asked her about the business side of things. And I remember how that felt with the hotel when I reached the point of no return. I just wanted out. And it's just interesting that it could be bought for its own money. It could be bought for pretty much £1. And I'm trying desperately not to get involved, because a real world business, it's hard work.
Can I recommend some Christmas reading for you?
Yeah, go on then.
Do you remember we interviewed John Richardson?
Yes.
Well, making a profit in a coffee shop is his expertise, and he's written 2 books called, I don't know, The Coffee Boys or something. I'll find them.
The Coffee Boys, I remember.
Yeah, The Coffee Boys, and another one. And that's his expertise. It's much harder than it looks.
I know. She has got. She does finish at 2:00 every day, and it occurred to me that she could get food truck people in for pop-up shops in the evenings.
Oh no, a client at two London chefs friends of mine did that. Took over a cafe in the evenings and did fine dining. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's only room for fine dining for about 2 or 3 tables max.
There wasn't very much room in this either, but it was sort of one of London's best kept secrets.
Well, I used to go to a cafe in London, in Westbourne Grove, that was a Greasy Spoon in the daytime and a Middle Eastern restaurant in the evening.
That's the thing.
They started doing very well indeed, and bought the shop next door and expanded and everything. It was amazing.
Okay, so here's John's Wake Up and Smell the Profit, 52 Guaranteed Ways to Make More Money in Your Coffee Business.
Ooh.
Setting up and managing your own coffee bar, how to open a coffee bar that actually lasts and makes money, and The Daily Grind, and that's not him actually, but those first 2 are John's, and he's an absolute expert in this, and from him I know how hard it is. And I had a client in Scotland who tried it and knew about John afterwards, not before. It's hard. It's a physically demanding, standy up job.
Yes, but she's doing it wrong, in my opinion, and she could be doing.
You see, that's how to sell a business, because the incoming people always think the outgoing person is doing it wrong.
Yeah,
that we could do it better.
And I don't want to, because I swore once I sold that hotel I don't.
No, I feel the need to threaten you here. Don't do it, Nicola. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Not even going to business with her, because she wants to carry on doing it.
I thought you said she wanted out.
No, well, I think she's tired and exhausted. But I said to her, "What would you do if you stopped this?" And she said, "I would go and work in another cafe for someone else."
How near is it to where you live?
2 minutes.
Walking distance.
Yeah.
Well, you could. You don't need another project.
I could buy her the book, couldn't I?
Yeah, you don't need another project.
No, I don't. You're right. Of course, you're right.
What is your word? Is hospitality, right? Yeah, I mean, for the outgoing, a hospitality business is very appealing. But having worked in restaurants, it's physically very knackering.
Yeah, I know.
And do you know what as well?
I'm guessing I'd be behind the counter.
No, I know that. But do you know what as well? It's because the things you need to be good at, you need to sit down to do, and it's standy up work.
Yeah.
So, you're not just making lovely coffee and serving a lovely cake and being good with the customers and da-di-da-di-da. Then when you shut the shop, you've got to do all the adding up and the banking and
and get all the prep done for the next day.
Well, you and I have only got to sit down and do one thing. You have to do every single task there is to be done in a business like that.
But it's so interesting, though, Judith, because talking about the law of attraction, which we were a minute ago, I have had a Google alert for business for sale in Sussex and business for sale West Sussex going for a long time. And I've looked at a lot of these businesses and I've never thought, oh, that'll be interesting. But this one I'm sort of intrigued by.
Oh, well, that's an interesting thing because I had, like you, I am asking the universe for things. And yesterday, either the universe sent them to me or sent me a test, which was somebody who had a need for me to do something for their business that I wouldn't ever choose to do, could earn money and give me a fixed abode. Part of their remuneration package was you can have my flat in such and such while we get this up and running. And actually, I don't want to live in that flat and I don't want to do what she wants me to do. But is that me being bonkers? Is that, it's a bit like that joke, isn't it, about man's house is flooded, goes up on the roof, and when he gets to heaven say, why didn't you help me, Jesus? And he said, well, I sent you a boat and a helicopter, what else did you want? Maybe it's very difficult to discern between whether the coffee shop 2 minutes from you is the answer to the thing you've been advertising for, and whether this offer I got yesterday, which is most unappealing in two essential factors, is something that's been sent to me.
Well, I think we could carry this conversation on an off podcast.
Yes, we could. Now, very quickly, because we've only got 8 minutes left, do you have a project update you want to describe?
I was just going to give you some stats for Own It, actually.
Go for it.
Just September 2492 downloads.
Yeah.
October 3434.
That's good.
November 3486.
Yeah.
And December is on track for 3428.
Okay. And so we've put 1,000 on since September.
Yes, and kept it in November and on track to keep it in December.
Oh, yes.
What I would like to ask the listener as a Christmas present to Judith and I, would you please share the podcast with one or two friends this week? And if you haven't done it before, would you go and give us a review on iTunes or...
And how to do that is in the show notes every week again. So
yes, there's a little video showing you how to do it. If you've got an Apple, if you haven't, then do it on your Android platform of choice. That would be lovely. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Who or what's impressed you?
Well, I'm not impressed at all. I wasn't impressed at all by X Factor Celebrity, although the right girl did win. I'm not impressed at all by X Factor Band's idea.
Why are you telling me things you're not impressed by?
Well, because I was looking for things I was impressed with.
Yes, bad juju.
Yeah.
Move swiftly along to the positive ones if you don't mind.
I was really, really impressed, and do shout me down if I've already told you about this, which was Joe Rogan interviewing the lead singer of one of the biggest bands, heavy metal rock bands in the world, and the name escapes me, but I will find it and send it to you, and the link to watch it. And halfway through this conversation, and this guy is talking about the law of attraction, but halfway through, in fact, a quarter of the way through the conversation, he starts talking about this woman that he accidentally listened to on the car radio while driving across the desert, who talks so much sense, he's become completely addicted to her show on YouTube. And guess who it is?
Esther!
Yes!
Yay!
Really, really interesting conversation because Joe Rogan's heard about her and he actually does believe in the law of attraction. There was a fantastic law of attraction conversation he had recently with the Kevin Hart, the comedian, and very successful man.
Yes.
And so Joe Rogan is very open-minded to this stuff, but he said, oh, she's the woman who channels spirits, isn't she? And so then the rock god put him right, and then he started saying, oh, wouldn't it be great if we could get her on the show?
Oh, yeah.
And I thought...
And do you remember she likes rap, you taught me?
She does like rap music. Yes, exactly. So I'm really looking forward to that. But I highly recommend you watch or listen to this. He's a very intelligent man, Joe Rogan. The rock god is a very intelligent man and very convinced by the law of attraction. He says all of the band's big success has happened since he's been listening to Esther and putting her stuff into...
Come on. Send me the link. I can't wait.
Yes, it's really good. So what about you then? What's impressed you?
Well, in this fastidious little flat, I had to work out how Apple TV works. Have you ever had Apple TV?
I haven't, but I know my Apple gadgets do integrate with things. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't easy. And it keeps asking me questions like, are you still watching? Well, of course I'm watching, you muppet. I'm sitting in front of you. What does it think I'm... Are you still watching? And if I don't press a button within a certain minute, it switches itself off. And then the television asks me the same question. If you don't press a button within the next minute, the television will turn itself off. Why? I've never had. This is an invention that isn't better. I mean, Apple TV is fine, but there's quizzing me about whether I'm actually directly physically involved in the process of watching television seems like a very strange thing to me.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm sure that just by preamble, by way of telling you that I'm absolutely loving rewatching The West Wing all over again on Amazon Prime. It's the best television ever, in my opinion, even though it's 20 years old. Laughter, tears, stirring music. Back in the decades when you could still believe in a politician. I let it wash over me. I don't really watch it because I've seen it before, and it's on while I'm multitasking, which is a terrible waste of such quality viewing. But because I've seen it before, I can come to pay attention for the really good bits, and I find it comforting. And I don't like having the telly on for the sake of having the telly on. But The West Wing, I'm loving it. I just love it.
I'm tempted to go back to the beginning because I only started watching it about 3/4 of the way through, and I enjoyed the end of it a lot.
Oh, it's great.
Right.
At the moment, you have to pay quite a lot of money to watch it, though. That's the only thing I would say. But I am investing.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'm going to go and hunt that clip down and send it over to you.
Yeah, do. If you could do it quickly, that would be great. Because I'm lovely. You're a star. All right. See you soon. Yeah. Bye.
You've been listening to Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. Do come and visit us at ownitthepodcast.com. We'd love to hear your feedback. You can find out more about Judith and visit her on her website at judithmorgan.com, and you can find Nicola at nicolacairncross.com.